speaker today is Tom Baker. He's spoken many times before here, so we know Tom. We know him as a professional counselor, as a teacher of A Course in Miracles, and a former Catholic priest. And I think it's fair to say that for at least some of those accomplishments, he would have had to spend a lot of time in study of theology, religion, and ancient writings. So if you've ever wondered about things like the Torah, the Talmud, the Mishnah, the Gemara, the Midrash, the Sefer HaZohar, the Jewish pseudepigrapha, the alphabet of Ben Sira, the writings of Flavius Josephus, the Septuagint, the Greek New Testament, the Vulgate, the Christian Apocrypha, the Gnostic Gospels, the Nag Hammadi Library, the Vedas, the Vedantas, the Upanishads, the Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, the Secret of the Golden Flower, or the teachings of the Shaolin Temple. He's your guy. However, when he pays us these little visits on Sunday mornings, he curtails his usual academic zeal and simply imparts to us certain precious words of wisdom that we need to hear. So please welcome our friend, our brother, our teacher, Tom Baker.
Well, let me check, see what we got. Oh, I'm steady. It's water.
Feel free to transmute it.
Well, yeah, there was a day. There was a day. I'm shooting blanks these days. Well, we're living in a world that seems very dangerous right now. El Paso, Dayton, guns, guns, guns. It seems like the world is more dangerous than it's ever been, when probably it isn't more dangerous. It's always been dangerous. And we think, where does all this come from? How does it get to be this way? We've been saying that for a very long time. Why do we have the ability in our nation to destroy the world? How afraid we must be of each other. What seems to happen is that we come to earth and we forget. We forget two things. One, we forget our identity. And two, we forget our self-worth. Those are the vulnerable parts of a human being. If somebody calls you a name, no matter what your credentials, you go right to the bottom. You're like a kid in the 8th grade on the playground that somebody has yelled at. That's how fragile our identities are, how vague they are. We don't know quite who we are. We say, or we're asked when we're children, what are you going to be when you grow up? And we grow up and we kind of quite didn't do it. We're still asking the question. Or even after I've been what I grew up to be, what am I going to do now? It's often an open question. Who am I? What am I? But the big open question is my worth. Am I okay? That, in a way, is a kind of open wound for us. Because what we do is we put our worth in the hands of everyone else. Every one of us does that. No matter how wonderful your upbringing, no matter how sterling your parents were, No matter how great your grandparents were, no matter how much education you got and had lovely friends, your worth is still an open question. So, our job as light workers, are you all light workers?
Yes.
Light workers, okay? We have a place in the world. We need to do something. And what we need to do is show people their worth. Because that's what's up for grabs all the time. People are priceless, they're amazing, they're extraordinary. But how can we be that angel in the world? How can we be the light of the world and show people their innocence and their joy? We are the hope of the world. No matter who you meet, you're their hope. It might be a little bit of hope, and it might be a whole lot of hope. When you meet somebody on the elevator, if you smile at them, that's hope. They may not be feeling very worthwhile that day. They suddenly feel better. If you tell somebody that you know that they're a good person, they're a really good person, they smile inside. They may smile outside. You are the light of the world, and you are the hope of the world. When your soul shines through, suddenly there's the hope of home. Oh, a picture. Just keep talking. Okay. Remember E.T. and Elliot? Remember the little boy in E.T. and he reaches out and their fingers touch and there's that light, that brightness? Well, we're all extraterrestrials. We're all that little E.T. guy. That was us in the movie. That wasn't a stranger. That was you and I. We didn't come from here. We came from the stars. We kind of crash landed here. And we've been wondering what happened ever since. So this is my spiritual advice to be the light of the world. And it didn't come from Josephus. But it was influenced by all those people that Lloyd suggested. And there were a lot of them I never heard of. But, Lloyd, you've heard of them. First of all, forgive and bless and ask for blessing. When I was a priest, one of the most amazing things that people did for me, they asked me for my blessing. It's wonderful to be able to stand in front of someone and let your soul shine for them. Because only if you give something away do you know that you have it. When you give the gift of song, you know you have your song. When you give the gift of wisdom, you know you're wise. When you give the gift of joy, you can feel the joy within you. Now, the trouble that a lot of people get into is that they're too tied to the world. They're too tied to the drama of their lives. What ties us to the world? Resentment, hatred, and wishes. What we wish for ties us to the future. What we resent ties us to the past. And what we hate ties us to other people. Isn't that interesting? The devil's version of intimacy is hate. You think about the person that you hate much more often than the person that you love. I must say Donald Trump is on my mind much more often than my wife is on my mind.
Sorry to hear that.
I am too. It's exactly right. I need to forgive him. I need to let him go. There's that story. What?
What did he ever do?
He never did anything to me. I'm on your side, Carol.
I'm sorry, I'm very protective, anti-Trump.
I'm okay. All right. We need to forgive him. You're right. There's that story from the other side, from Testimony of Light. If you've ever read that book, in which a woman hates the commandant of the prison camp where she and her son died. And they have become psychically entwined with each other. And they have to do psychic surgery to separate the two. That's what happens when we hate someone. We become entwined with them. Second, excuse me?
What about love?
Well, love is the next thing. Yes. Be open to people, however they present. Allow them to save you from what you know about them. Curiosity is the heart of love. When I'm curious about those that I have condemned, my heart begins to open a little bit more. I think love is when you recognize a person for the extraordinary soul that they are. It's not just desiring them, it's desiring them to be exactly who they are. That's love. To go beyond your own interests with them. That can be done easily by simply saying to the person what's right about you rather than what's wrong about you. What's extraordinary about you rather than what's limited about you. What I like about you rather than what needs to change. Third, be open to nature. There was a Japanese maple outside of my office. And that little Japanese maple was a tree that sort of knew me. And I knew it. And every time I would come to work, every day I would come to work, and I would feel that little maple just kind of go, ooh. And I would go, ooh. I never hugged it. It didn't want me to hug it. It was a little delicate. But it wanted me to know that it existed. And I wanted it to know that I existed. We were kind of together. We need to surrender to something not made by the human mind. Like Mozart surrendering to music. Einstein surrendering to mathematics. Alcoholics and drug addicts surrendering to a higher power. We desperately need the experience of awe. The experience of not us. That's one reason pets help us. They love us, but they do not become us or ask us to become them. Remember my little cat. We have a My little cat was a leaper. He would leap from the table to the couch to the chair. And he never asked me to leap. He just wanted to leap. He never asked me to be him. I never asked him to be me. If we could get out of that habit as human beings, wanting everybody to be like us, we would have the wisdom of animals. They like being themselves. They want us to be us. Now be willing to be non-defensive. You forgot that you loved me. That's what my wife says when I say something that is not very nice. It's not very kind. She says, Tom, you just forgot that you loved me. What she's saying in that is that I've forgotten that I deeply know her, that I deeply cherish her, that she's precious to me. I've just forgotten it. It can come to mind. I can be reminded, and I can come back. I can say that I'm wrong. Much of the time, human conflict is the result of not willing to say that you're wrong or half right. Of course we're wrong. We're wrong much of the time. Also, you being New Age people, me being a New Age person, be willing to come back here. I hear lots of people tell me that they are hoping that this will be their last incarnation. I hope this is my last time through. That next time I'll be one with God and a kind of one with the universe. And I would encourage you to come back next time. The world needs us. The world really needs us. Instead of being just a student, to be a teacher and a student. If you teach peace and seek peace, then peace will often be yours. There's usually a child or a lonely person that needs to hear this, that needs to hear the teaching of peace. I think we can ask others two things. We can ask for their cooperation, and we can ask for their trust. Those are large things to ask for, but they're necessary in a society that's going to speak and listen to each other. Their cooperation and their trust. And finally, face death without fear. Know that death is an opening into our deepest being. And it's an experience that almost everyone finds delightful. Don't fear it. It's not the end of anything, but a kind of tightness, a limitation. When you die, the walls and roof fall away, and you soar. Now, the universe, in my mind, is pretty much a small town without the gossip, a family without the dysfunction, a symphony of joy. On the other side, in spirit, that which surrounds us, that which is above and below us and around us, is safety, holiness, and the willingness to love. I would have you ask, what are you doing here on earth? What have you learned? And what are you teaching? I've been told by psychics that we all have a reputation on the other side. We're much admired. We're known for things. We're known for the good that we do. We're known for the kindness that we speak. We're known for the patience with which we listen. We're known for all of that, each one of us. Holy ones, good ones, forgiving ones, ones who are one with one another. What makes life worth living? Gentleness and kindness. That's it.